and what I'm going to be doing right now is bowed walls. We did this the other day. We were putting together and measuring out and figuring out how to cut, measure, and do half-high walls and make a transition up to a wood wall. So what we're going to do now is figure out how to glue this, plumb this, and make it look good. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you a little bit of how poorly it is out. This is what we're looking at right here. This bow in between here and here. Now, if you remember, what we did earlier is we plumbed out this line so when we drop it straight down it'll be level. Now to show you that, I have the first squaring thing I could find, and that would be an InSoFast panel. And we can put that there, and when it's square you can see how it cups in when we tuck it back to the wall. So it drops back and it bows out. So it's a pretty difficult wall, and we'll see what we can do to make this work. Now, using this as my straight edge guide, because it is pretty darn square, I'm going to use this. But first, what I'm going to do is I have a little bit of destruction to do. I have to get a screw gun. I don't want to take some of this stuff down and move these things up and off so it doesn't fall on my head while I'm working. We made this shelf. We cut these panels higher. Now this is what I wanted to show you, and I'm going to get the other camera and walk it over there. And you can look at that and you can see how just out of square, out of plumb that wall is. So I am going to kick this back a little bit like so, kind of straightening that out. Now, my straight edge guide this InSoFast panel, what I'm going to do is have this run along the floor and square it up with this outside wall. So this panel has to come out just a tad. So you can see how this wall bows right here and forces the panel. This is our high spot. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to get these screw shims. Now these are 4-inch long drywall screws or deck screws that we're going to use to actually provide a shim. And let's put one right about here. And one right about here. And as we screw this in, it'll start to push that panel out and back plumb or square with that lower panel. So now what we have to make sure is when we're going up and down that stays perpendicular too. Let's put this in a bit. And this is kind of a feel thing. Getting it nice and square there. And taking this panel up top too. And making sure it's nice and square along here. And I don't know, yeah, you can see that. So there we go. We have this panel squared out. Now we have to bring this one out square and flush. Now, if you look along this edge, we did level that out and plumb that earlier. So we know these next panels are going to fit into our grooves. And be flush up top. That's squaring it out at the top. And it's pretty much that easy. Now, let's go back to the other camera. And you can see how this has squared itself up. A little bit more out at the bottom right there. You might not be able to see it, but we got to pull this out a little bit. Square that up. Go down to the next stud. Pull that out. And in doing so, this screw right here will need just a tad more, bit more pushing. So I'm going to need to put another screw in down here. All right, let's check that to square with the InSoFast panel. Looks good from this wall down here to the midpoint. And we could actually get another InSoFast panel to run it along the floor. And that's not too bad. That's actually pretty squared up. Now we'll go down the wall, making sure that we're squaring up. Looking pretty good. And that's all we have to do. Now, what we're going to do in order to shim and shimmy that wall up is we're going to get spray foam like this. And this is already sprayed and cured, and you can see that the dimension on it is almost 1.5 inches right there. But I want to show you that tenacity and the bond of this is greater than the fusion of our beads, which will split and pull apart at around 37 pounds per square inch. So you have a tremendous amount of square inches bonded right to this area that will shim, liquid shim, that wall up and true and square that up for us. So in order to do that, we'll deconstruct the panels. And I'm going to make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be panel number 5, panel number 4, panel number 3, panel number 2, and panel number 1. So I have those reversed ordered and set up for getting ready to glue. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the back side of the panel as we peel these off and see we're actually going to get some glue in between there. And if we're not going to get any glue, we're not going to worry about it, okay? We're just going to bond it, which is temporarily fastening it to the wall system. So as we deconstruct it, now I want to get myself a gluing station. I wish I would have done that earlier. Hang on. So this is panel number 5, 4, 3, lost my camera there. Now, you can see on this panel, the screw right here goes all the way through to this back side, and that's my shim or my marker. And then there's another one down here that sticks out. All right, so this one hardly gets any glue at all, but we would glue this up totally. All the way down as we get into the center. Now, I'm not going to do that today because it's getting late in the day and I don't want to deal with the glue, okay? So a bead of glue right down here. There's not going to be a whole lot that we can do there and there. So we'd have that one pre-glued and ready to go, and we get ready to set that one up. Now in this instance, we would have snapped the line down along here, and we'd know exactly where the glue would go. And the other glue that you would use would be a spray foam. The gaps and cracks, and this I will glue today. Now this is an old trick that we learned when we were working in the insulated concrete form business, which is similar to this method of building. We would actually glue the bottom of the forms down to the footer. So we'd take this edge right here, and you can see in here there is a really nice channel. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to try and demonstrate, is we're going to put a bead of spray foam in this channel. and we want to overfill this channel. And you can see the spray foam, the amount of spray foam I put on this area. Okay? Now, what that will do is that will lock and seal the very bottom of this panel down to the floor. So it's okay if it oozes out. And I think I want to show you that on the other camera. You can see how it oozes out all down this line. Now that's squared out here. It's right tight up against there. This would be glued almost solidly with the Loctite PL Premium. This is not adhesively applied, this far end. And I'll get another camera angle on that just so you can see what I'm talking about. Up along the top right here, there's no glue or adhesive, and I don't want to put any in there quite yet. I mean, I could take a little bit of glue and squirt that in there, but what happens with this adhesive is if it doesn't have a weight or isn't pressed into place, it'll start to push the form out. So our next panel comes in, and again, we would spray foam this edge all the way down clean in between there. I don't want to do that because this is just a demonstration wall and I have to do it a couple times. So now I only have to clean up one section of wall of floor. And when you're working with the glue, the spray foam, you have about 15 or 20 minutes in order to get it just right. You can shift and move it around. So I actually had to pull this out just a tad right now to know that's square. And I'm not going to lay that panel down in it, but here we go with the other panels. This is number 3. This would go down. Now as we take a look at this, we set it in place. I know that I would need to glue this strip. This strip isn't going to touch the wall at all. So we glue that strip down, set that in place, get to our next panel, and this longer one, is going to get a whole lot of glue because this is going, well, at least in this one right here, there's going to be a lot of surface area that we would glue. So you'd get a good solid bond at this stud right here. Your final piece and panel that you would put in, number 5, as we work backwards. Not too much going on through there, so you can see how this is bowing out. So what I'm going to want to do is actually, I'm going to actually want to support this until this glue and all the other stuff sets. So what I would do, okay, and I'm going to switch the camera view again. All right, in order to true up this wall, I need to brace it. So I'm going to brace it with what's available and what I can use. And that just happens to be something that's pretty darn square. And I can put up against there to get it just right until the adhesive sets. Now you're going to want to go through and you're going to want to make sure that you're pretty square everywhere. Square it up from the floor to the wall, making sure that you're out, that you're not cupping in. You want it snug but square. And that is pretty much all we have to do right now. We can put this top in, back in up here, making sure we're good and square along the top, because we did measure that out. And that's it. Now we're going to let it set for actually about 45 minutes before you'd want to do anything. That's when the glue would set. And then you can go back and start shimming and fluffing it up, making it look good. And I'm going to show you that right now. We're going to push the extreme. So what I have now is a drill bit. Now this drill bit and a drill. I'm going to start drilling holes into the thing. And I'm going to want to drill the holes about where that screw is. So I'm going to go through the foam all the way to the wall till I have a nice little hole set right in there. And this is the trick. It's this simple. You get the spray foam, you put it back through there, and that's a liquid shim. I'd want to do it along this stud. I'd want to do it along this stud. I want to go through the next day and I want to tap the studs. I want to hear where it's hollow. I want to hear where it's firm. The big difference between the two, and where you hear it, you can tack it back. You can liquid shim it with the spray foam. And then the next, after you've done all that and the spray foam is all set, you can go back with some tap cons, go through our stud into the concrete wall and anchor it home. So you have a true plumb, well-insulated wall that was quick and easy to do. So thanks for watching. That's all there is today. And we'll be back again. Oh, yeah. If you could, please tell everyone you know about InSoFast. Go to a lumber store and tell them to carry InSoFast. We need the help getting the word out, and we'd really appreciate it if you'd help us spread it. Thanks.